Welcome to another RMS support tutorial. Today we will discuss the overview of a DD1354 form as well as how to complete and view the form. Now let's get started. Real property is required to be documented by the use of DD Form 1354 or transfer and acceptance of military real property. This form is used to transfer a facility or part of a facility to the using service prior to either partial or complete occupancy. The completed DD Form 1354 with the real property records is submitted by the government or USA's representative to the customer or user. Regulations require the using service to accept the transfer of construction by signing the form. The deficiencies found during the final inspection that were not immediately corrected are listed on the back of the form. The deficiencies relate to contract requirements only, and design deficiencies are not included. If there are any disputes as to items being construction deficiencies, these should be resolved by the ACO or CO if possible. If not, the dispute is forwarded in writing to the district with an explanation of the facts. All renovation, alteration, maintenance, and repair projects require a completed DD Form 1354. Prior to the final inspection, the resident or project engineer determines the approximate cost of the contract exclusive of possible claims. A final DD Form 1354 will be submitted once all the invoices are received from the contractor and validation of final quantities is complete. This final form is the designated responsibility of PPMD or Programs and Project Management Division within a district. Real property is transferred to the customer upon completion or partial completion as the case may be. Real property items can be created by the contractor or government. Once a contractor has entered the information and sent for government review, the government should be able to add the additional information to the real property item. In this example, a contractor has already submitted a real property item and is pending government review. To complete the real property item, navigate to the Closeout tab, then select the real property module. As we can see, the status of the submitted real property items reflect as government accepted or government review. The contractor will not be able to make any changes to the items if the status reads government accepted. We will select the real property item number 3. In this menu, the contractor has filled out the basic information about this item. In order to complete this real property item, additional information is required. A service unique project number will be assigned by the component to each approved real property construction project. You can either manually enter this information or select from a list by clicking the Select RPUID button. At least one real property unique identifier will be assigned or obtained by a real property accountable component when the account is created. Upon receiving official authorization to perform work on a real property construction project, the sponsoring entity will obtain and assign an RPUID from the real property accountable component for each real property asset that will result during the construction. A sponsoring entity is defined as the military department, DoD agency, or combatant command that sponsors the construction project. DoD agencies and combatant commands are not authorized to own real property. As such, these assets are under the jurisdiction and held in the inventory of the real property accountable component for the site where the asset is located. CIP costs will be tracked by both the service unique project number and the RPUID to ensure visibility, traceability, and accountability. The RPUID can be obtained from the P2 project download, and the database is maintained by the DoD. For this example, we will click Cancel. Enter the type of construction by clicking the drop-down menu. The options presented are permanent, semi-permanent, and temporary. However, a new pick list has been added in the Contract Setup module. To enable the fiscal year 22 lookups for the DD1354, click Contract menu, Administration tab, then Contract Setup module. Click the Enable FY22 lookups for DD1354 to update this list. This will not change a previously selected construction type and will only reflect newly created real property items. By default, newly created contracts will have this option enabled automatically. If we look back at the type of construction, we can now see the list has been updated and will reflect the FY22 options instead. Once we have selected the appropriate type, we will now select the sustainability code. By clicking the blue box, we will be presented with a list of codes and their definitions. Since this example is a building compliant with specific guidelines, we will select Code 1. Under the funding source selection, we can select the appropriate funding source by clicking the Funding Source 1 box. A list of source codes and abbreviations will display. You may select the fiscal year options by clicking the top left drop-down and selecting the appropriate year. Once selected, click OK. If there are more than one funding source that needs to be included, click the Multiple button and additional rows will be added. For this example, we will leave this box unchecked. Select the Real Property Funding Organization by clicking the box and choosing the organization code. Click the Interest Code box to select the appropriate real property interest codes, then click OK. You may add item remarks and additional item information to the sections below. The checkbox Include DDC or Include Design During Construction will add additional costs to the real property and will reflect in the DD Form 1354. Further information on the DDC will be discussed later in this video. For this example, we will leave this blank. Once all the information has been verified, the final step to completing this item is to click the Accepted checkbox. Once this is done, click the back button to save. As we can see, the status has changed to Government Accepted. Now we can initiate the transfer of the DD Form 1354. This form can be created by entering the contract menu and clicking on the Closeout tab, then clicking the blue tile Transfers DD1354. This will open the transfer selection view where you can add, edit, and delete 1354 transfers. Users can add and edit information regarding the transfer and acceptance of the real property items. The DD Form 1354 is composed of the information found in the Transfer Edit view within the three tabs: Header, Real Property, Deficiencies, and Remarks. You may view the DD form anytime by clicking the DD Form 1354 button at the top. The Header, Real Property tab will fill in the first page of the DD Form 1354. You may start by selecting the date prepared and then choosing the office by clicking the Select Office button. Selecting the appropriate office will automatically fill out the information. If there are items missing, then you may add them accordingly. Manually enter the To address line to ensure the correct transfer location. Add the project number, serial number, site installation, and date placed in service. Select the transfer type, primary and secondary, by clicking the drop-down menus. Select the form type, draft, final, and interim.
The interim option is needed prior to the pre-final and final inspections. The final option will not be used until fiscal completion.
You may select the transferred by signature automatically by clicking the Select Signer button. If the transferred by title is not populating, you may enter this information manually. Manually enter the accepted by signature and title. To add real property items, click the Add button below and select from the list of property items.
The ability to change the order in which the real property items display on the DD1354 form can be done simply by clicking the real property item and dragging it just above the alternate item. Doing this will change the displayed order of the real property items. For example, if we click the DD1354 button, we can see the order of the items displayed as the Scarlet facility above or before the Cypress facility number. To change this, click the Cypress item and drag it just above the other item. Now if we open a DD1354 once more, we can see the changes displayed. This ability allows for better customization and organization throughout the entire documentation process. For this demonstration, we will revert these items back to the previous order.
The Deficiencies tab is used to add construction deficiencies on the transfer form. This will fill out section 27 of the 1354. The deficiencies are added in order of the deficiency item number. Click the Add button and choose from the selection. Add any additional construction deficiencies in the box below. The Remarks tab will fill out section 28 of the transfer form. This section includes a description of the project along with project costs. The field subtotal is the sum of the construction costs, planning and design costs, S&A costs, and equipment costs. By entering values in the Design During Construction section, this will propagate against all of the property items that have been marked Include DDC. This will spread across the items that have been flagged and add more to the initial total. For example, since we added 2 real property items, one of the items has DDC included and is valued at $150,000 in construction costs. If we enter $5,000 in this section, the total project cost will now reflect an additional $5,000. We can also see this listed on the 1354 form in sections 19 and 28. By checking the Apply DDC to all real property, this will apply the same to every real property item. This function is especially useful for multiple real property items that may be included. Add any project remarks in the section below, as well as add any additional information or documents to the document package section as necessary. For this demonstration, no additional information is required. If we preview the 1354, we can see all of the information added in the 3 sections have now populated to the document. Before saving any of the information, please double check and re-edit if necessary. A physical signature will be required to sign this document. From this menu, you can save this form to your computer by clicking the Save icon and selecting Save to Acrobat PDF file. Save this file to a folder of your choice. Once this has been saved, you will print this form, physically sign it in the designated signature area, and upload the document to the document package. In this example, we have already signed the form and will now upload the document to RMS by clicking the Add button. Then clicking the Add button once more to choose a document from the file system. Select the signed document and then click Open. Click Manually Signed by Government, then click the View Attachment button. As we can see, the verified signature has been added. Now we can click the Complete Package button. RMS will now prompt us to verify this action. Click Yes. Click the Back button to save the document package, then click the Back button once more to save the document. This will now complete the 1354 form.
One additional way to get real property items into RMS is via the Import-Export module, Import Real Property option. This might be used by users who cannot enter data directly into RMS. For construction, design, bid, build jobs, UCAS regulations require the designer to provide or obtain a draft 1354 around the same time the BCOES review is conducted. The designer will need to coordinate with the Garrison Real Property Officer to ensure appropriate real property ID and category codes are selected for the real property items. For design build jobs, contractors can enter real property directly into RMS for approval by the government or utilize the real property template form in the import-export module. To import, click the contract menu button, then navigate to the import-export tab, then the import real property module. This screen will allow you to download the template and either overwrite or merge with existing real property items in RMS. We will select merge since we do not wish to delete any existing property items. There is also an option to export real property items already listed to an Excel document. For this demonstration, we have a real property Excel document filled out and ready to import. If we take a look at our document, we can see that all the information has been filled out correctly. For instructions on how to fill out a template, hover over the red box and a list of information on how to properly fill out this form will be displayed. It is important that the instructions are followed exactly to avoid any errors while importing. Head back to RMS and click the Import Real Property Items from Excel button. We will choose the file and click Open. RMS now displays that the import has been successful. In summary, we discussed how to add information to the DD1354 form, how to enter design during construction costs, and how to verify the completed form. As a reminder, be sure to adhere to all contract guidelines before making any changes. If there are any technical issues relating to creating or transferring real property items, please contact the Help Desk Support Center. Our contact information will also be available in the description of this video. We hope you found this information helpful and thank you for watching.